Glitter Angels, it's Viv J and welcome back to my channel. So today is Thursday, June 5th and it's 3:13 p.m. right now. So, and also don't mind whatever's going outside in the backyard. So if you guys know, you know, I am in my home backyard, the outside patio. You could tell by the umbrella underneath there. This video is pretty much talking to you guys about the truth of DePauw. Well, talking from my experience, of course, as a recent graduate. So, you guys already know that I graduated college, and I feel that it's about time that I tell you guys, like, kind of explain through my process and my stages and what I've discovered. So, yep, let's just get started. So I'm gonna read from my phone, see what I've written, and yeah, I did type this beforehand, so we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the before moving out stage. So that's like the pre-DePauw phase. So around that time, I would say the beginning part was kind of like a bit of a bittersweet twist. Well, more like an emotional twist, because there came a piece of news that I was not ready for. And it was during that month when Jeff, he was a professor at DePauw. Jeff Klinger, he passed, unfortunately. And it was devastating, not just for me, but also for my dad, since he went to DePauw. So he and Jeff, they went to school together and graduated in 1988. So it was an emotional wreck at the time, because I was finishing off senior year of high school, and then hearing that piece of news was just like, oh my god, how am I gonna survive my time at DePauw now? And then after graduating high school, and before the trip I went to, I got to visit the school. And then when I got there, there were a lot of emotions that came over me. Like excitement, worry, fear, happiness, determination, etc. You name it all. And around that same month, that was when I got to meet Jonathan, aka JNP, Jonathan Nichols-Pethick. That's when I got to meet him the first time and get to know other buildings across campus, like the Hoover Dining Hall, GCPA, Pulliam Center, Peeler, and Lilly, from what I remember. And then once I was done, it was actually overwhelming for me, because I still wasn't mentally prepared for transitioning into college. And with me still dealing with the loss of Jeff, it was hard, man. It was tough, honestly. Well, because I was feeling like I don't even know if I'm gonna enjoy this school. Aside from that, I did decide to go to college to DePauw. And then we get to the start of first year and throughout. This is where I began to pack my life and go to DePauw, which was one of the hardest periods ever. Again, with the whole frustration, excitement, fear, the same emotions that came from the day that I visited the school. Of course, when you're first year, you have your orientation week and then the first week of classes. So then, around the beginning of my DePauw journey would be the intense fear of losing myself. If I'm gonna be real with you guys, the first month of August, like that month of school during August and September, it was rough. And I discovered that one of the things that I discovered for sure was that sharing a space was not it for me. Because A, my dairy and tree nut allergies, and with various health struggles, like, well, with mental health and whatever. And then on top of that, I was dedicating to the classes that I took, and I even did chamber singers, which was one of the audition choir groups, which I auditioned in August before the school semester started. And then around that same month of the beginning, that was when I began to notice that no one got into vlogging during their time except for me. And I was like, alright. The first few things that I discovered was that not every typical system works for everyone. And even in the midst of the hard days, I still thrived throughout the month. Well, followed by the remainder of the fall semester. It was all because of seeking counseling once every 2 weeks or something. And then talking to people that I trust, all of that. It was just worth it at the end. from then on, after one busy week after another, alongside with calling my mom on Sunday evenings and getting to know the flow of college, has brought me so much joy and confidence. So like, sure, it can get scary at first, but once you know the flow of it, it's like, I love it. That was what it was like. And it was like, Viv, relax, let time be your guide. And then, so that did. Fast forwarding to January 2022, I decided to go through the recruitment process. So we don't have a fall, like DePauw does not have a fall rush, like Greek rush. It's only for springtime. So I decided to go through that, and it was online because it was still in the midst of the pandemic. And although I did enjoy meeting a number of different girls with different backgrounds and getting to know the different houses, unfortunately, I never got into a sorority, which was sad. Like, I wanted to be a Pi Phi or a Theta or Alpha Chi, Alpha Phi or DG, Delta Gamma. I slowly began to accept that Greek life was not right for me, which was okay. I mean, which made sense because of having a busy schedule and planning to become a film major and how much time I'm gonna have to sacrifice, all that blah blah blah, so on and so forth. From time to time, I would continuously question myself nonstop of why I felt weird across the campus, or just have episodes into thinking like, this is too overwhelming, I can't do this anymore. Luckily, with the help of Jonathan and of other awesome mentors that were able to help me, they even helped me find myself through the artistry and the talents that I've carried over the years. And then after finishing my first year at college, I could not be prouder of that moment. And it was also around that month of May 2022 when I made it onto the Dean's List. So that was another highlight. 100%. The Dean's List has been one of my greatest wins. Yep, for sure. And it was for both semesters, which was shocking because it was something unexpected as a first year that finished. I started wondering, do people expect this from me? Or am I doing this to please people all the time or make myself happy? I mean, I swear, throughout the years at DePauw, and after just getting like earning the grades that I know that I've been manifesting, even though I know obviously it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes with a Dean's List talk among my family, I'm just like, are you expecting this from me, or am I pleasing people, or am I pleasing myself? That I didn't know. And then we get to sophomore year, so we're gonna get onto that right now. Oh, and also, just to add that, I also was gonna talk briefly of my living situation, but not too much. So, for first year, I was in Bishop Roberts, and then Humbert for the remainder of my freshman year. I just need a single room. That's cause. Anyway, going on to sophomore year, and that's where I had to do the required courses. Not really fun, but it's like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So we have this like W, Q, and S requirements that we're required to do in order to graduate. Those are kind of like certification, not necessarily certification, but like requirements to fulfill before the end of sophomore, junior, and senior. So definitely before sophomore year ended, I had to do a W course, and it's just for one semester pretty much, which is good, because anything's better than nothing. For my W course, the one that I did, this is interesting because the course that I took was titled The Undead Monster, which was an anthropology class. Yep, and then for the science courses, I did kinesiology. They were beginning level, don't worry. At least I had to take at least 2 science courses. At least just one for the semester, one for first semester and second semester. So I did kinesiology and psychology, which those are quite interesting courses, but they can be a little intense at times, but I still did well. I also was in the rainbow floor of Mason Hall, it's like, so when you get a rainbow floor, it's essentially like a floor where there's gender neutral bathrooms, and my dad was, when he came to visit me, he was kind of weirded out. He was like, what's all this about? And I'm like, oh, this is a rainbow floor. It's for LGBT students. And yep, it was a single space. Well, just because had to make sure my accommodations were on the top priority, which that did happen. Around that same time of my sophomore year, that's when people started, that's when people got to know my vlogs, and that was when I felt the most confident around people for the first time in my life, ever. At 19 years old, it was another unexpected thing, and I was like, what is happening? Surprise, surprise, because a lot of you are just guessing on and on of like, oh Viv, you've always been such a talkative person, da da da. No, that was not me at 7 years old, or 10, or even 5 years old. I was quiet growing up, honestly, not gonna lie, before my YouTube phase thing happened. During the start with my new classes, so I ended up switching from doing chamber singers to festival choir, which was a non-audition group. It was just for the sake of that I knew that I was gonna be busy for my sophomore year. It was just an adjustment that I chose to make, and I'm glad that worked. With maintaining a busy schedule, I've dedicated my time to focusing on my classes, performing in the choir, and going to weekend events, you name it all. And I know what you're gonna ask. Well, Viv, didn't you go to a frat party or something? Even a toga party? It was only one. It was just like, no, not just one. What am I trying to say? Because I did go to another frat party during sophomore year. One point I did. One freaking point. And it was at Sig Chi, and it was during Halloween weekend, from what I remember. I liked their house better, honestly. Aside from that, when spring semester came, that's when I got to decide to take a communications class, and that's when I met Professor Kent Menzel at the time, because I figured that he also knew Jeff Klinger. Well, because they were in the same department, the communication and theater department. Because I swear, I would ask a couple of the comm professors and be like, do you know Jeff Klinger? And they're like, yes! It's just insane that I've been going on about my time at DePauw without him. He'd be so proud as of today. Anyway, back to the story. So when March 2023 came, that's when, by the time we're sophomores, that's when we were required to have our majors chosen by then. And I discovered that film and media arts was something that I wanted to do, and I'm really glad that I stuck with that. There was a film and media arts gathering that I got to go to, and it was getting to know other film majors and film professors. And I'm gonna list the professors that I got to meet that specific time. It was Seth Friedman, Da-hee Yoon, Karen Wimbley, Chris White, and also reconnecting with Jonathan, obviously. He's a media studies professor and such a great guy. Love him. And of course, as time went on, I decided to begin exploring in depth of what I would love for myself, into how it contributes to my journey. So I'm really trying hard not to go super into detail, but it's like a pretty brief, but still specific, that I've had an amazing time at DePauw, that even in the midst of the ups and downs, all of those moments were worth it, because I promised it would. Then we go on to junior year, which is kind of like the fun but intense year. Around junior year, that was when I finally got to take a film production class by Da-hee, which was another best time ever. And I still dedicated my time to doing my classes, vlogs for DePauw game days, days in the life, Monon Bell, Little Five, you name it all. If you haven't seen the previous DePauw vlogs, you definitely should. It's still on my channel, and it's in these playlists titled Life at DePauw, seasons 1 through 4, which represents my documentation of my DePauw experiences. Like I said, I was still doing vlogs for DePauw, like the game days, days in the life, Monon Bell, Little Five, so on and so forth. And then came DePauw Film Club, which was during junior year. And of course I took more film classes like a K-pop and K-drama, and I still did the digital film production class. So it was K-pop and K-drama, beginning digital film production, and play and screenwriting, which those were part of my film major that I chose to do. And I also did some creative classes too, like costume lighting, scenery, interpersonal communication, music tech, and beginning jazz dance. Quite a whole lot of creativity going on. Oh yeah, and I also did ballroom dancing in sophomore year, beginning ballroom dancing, and that was fun. So I was kind of channeling my film actor slash filmmaker aspect within me all those years so far. And I did exceed most of the goals that I wanted to accomplish, so props to that. Junior year was definitely another creative era, and that was definitely another year, a favorable year in the books. Definitely better than sophomore year, I'll tell you that. And then we go on to senior year. Wow. Yep, still did more creative classes as of senior year, like voice and movement, screenwriting, landscape photo, beginning drawing, while still doing festival choir at the time. Around senior year, that's when I also did the senior capstone project prep, where we had to decide on what projects we were going to do for the capstone seminar. So I'll have to tell you, it did take a lot of writing. So for that film, Like No Other, if you haven't seen that film, go check it out. I worked so hard on making that film. So it took a lot of writing, like I said, because I started drafting that in May 2024, and I continued drafting throughout the fall semester. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to write, because I had to go back to thinking my dark places a lot, which in correlating with neurodivergence and autism and so on and so forth. But I knew for sure that as I was writing it, it was a film that I was going to make for myself, because I needed an uplifting film like that when I was 16, even 7 years old, and I'm sure that there are kids and teens with disabilities now who need it. My final semester, I did a winter term course alongside with Lori, my first year advisor, who's known me for 4 years, so that's cool. Yeah, it was creative community service, and that was another high time of my life. I unfortunately had to drop festival choir my spring semester. Well, it was for the sake of doing 2 different seminars for my major and for media fellows, and it was tough saying bye to them and like heading off to finish off the semester. And then for my final courses, aside from my film seminars, I also did Intro to Creative Writing, finally, alongside with Chris. And then I did Beginning Ballet with Marcus, and Film and Media Theory. So that film theory class, it was like the last required course I had to do. And it was one of the hardest that I've ever taken. Another one on my list. And of course I dedicated the first few months of the spring semester to film for my documentary Like No Other, which was followed by post-production. And of course I had to build up the guts to overcome my anxiety of talking of projects that seem important to me, like my senior films, for example. I'm pretty sure I might have talked about this before, but I happen to be comfortable to talking of certain things in front of a camera versus in real life. Yep, that's pretty much my years summed up, and then we're gonna dig into what's been discovered and also some issues that I faced. I've also noted that with talking of experiences, it's not just like all like ups and downs, but also noticing what issues that might have been faced, and talking of how it implies to what's been discovered into going my self-discovery journey, so on and so forth. There were a number of problems that I might have noticed. The trouble with me, the first one, would be that I was not gentle and patient with myself because of my black and white thinking and perfectionism. And that was the ultimate issue that Chris helped point it out. And I'm still continuing to resolve that issue. And I always felt so bad because although I did learn of what black and white thinking is at an earlier age, I think as I grew, it started getting worse. I mean, I'm sure there are a couple teachers that have tried to help me, but Chris, she's been an absolute hero. Like, she's helped me so much. Well, with black and white thinking and autism, it correlates with each other, alongside perfectionism. And the second trouble was nitpicking evaluations, which came from professors and dealing with more criticism. I just wasn't prepared for that overall. Not just in one particular setting or situation. Like, I just wasn't ready for that evaluation, and I hated feedback so much. It stressed the freak out of me. And even to this day, I still probably hate feedback. But hopefully I'm at a phase where I'm just wanting to move on quickly from feedback and not make it seem like it's such a big problem to me that I can't function throughout the day or throughout the week. And another issue that came across was a deprived social life. And it was borderline for me. The big reason was that it was just sacrificing time for relationships. And sometimes you don't have another choice but to put them to the side. I don't want to say I had like quite a zero social life, because I did have a good amount, but it just felt like reduced at times. Well, because with maintaining a busy schedule and juggling with multiple things all at once, it did seem to prove itself of how much time that I've had to sacrifice in terms of making time for my film and classes and not so much time for my friends. Like, that does not mean I'm trying to ditch my friends at all. It just means that, like, oh yeah, I'm really busy, I need to focus on this first and then I can get on to you. It's just finding that balance that's the trick that has helped me over the years. And then, of course, self-comparison. Yep. Like, we're to the point where I would say things like, just random crap saying like, everyone's been exposed to this kind of topic except for me. That made me realize that there's no point in wasting energy just with comparing myself between what I have and what others have. And guess what? There is no need to do so, because you're focused on the things that bring you confidence and motivation in life. It's about time that I tell you this. You might want to save this to your phone. The differences that you carry are what's going to help you shine so bright. Yep, exactly what I just said. The differences that you carry are going to help you shine so bright. The reason why I say that was because when the moment you're just comparing yourself, you're already hurting yourself. And that's what I noticed. Well, as of right now, but at the time I didn't know about it. As I grew, it was like, there's no need to compare my life to another person's life in college, because that is clearly out of my control. And that's where thinking of what things are in your control versus out of your control come in. It's a way of like sort of balancing yourself, like, hey, focus more on what's in your control, not what's out of your control. Hope that makes sense. Out of everything that I just said. So I was more of the academic type of student that was primarily focused on studies. I wasn't much of a party goer, as people may think. I went to very few frat parties. It was just like, I'm pretty sure it was 2 or something. I just wasn't much of a party person, that's what I knew for sure. Yeah, hopefully this provided a solid amount of insight of what my experiences at DePauw have been like through the vlogs. I essentially wanted to show people that they don't have to go through this alone, because I'm in their world, they're in mine. Yep, hopefully the point of the DePauw vlogs have made so much sense, and I'm sure it did, because I swear, a number of people have said to me that they've been enjoying my vlogs, which makes me happy. And I want to thank you guys for that. In conclusion, I've shared a lot, number 1. And number 2, talking of the truth of my DePauw experience, it was totally balls to the walls. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I've been missing my DePauw people so much. And
we miss each other a lot, us seniors too, all of us. That took a lot of guts to film this whole entire thing, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are proud that I'm expressing the words into talking of my honest opinions about these experiences and what memories that I've made during my time at DePauw and all that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching and bearing with the fun times that I've made at DePauw. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, and let's comment below the tiger with the heart emoji, because DePauw will always remain in my heart. I love my family so much. I love you guys all, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Oh yeah, and stay positive. Bye!
Who am I without all this love that can save me from these dry